What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to TCG Madness, and today we are going to be doing a updated version of the Basira and the Kaizaimon deck for Altered TCG. And I say updated because with the new set of Trial by Frost officially out, we did not get any additional heroes, so it's time to just do what I did with the last set 1 with Altered TCG. I went through all the heroes in all the factions. I built decks for every single one of them. I'm going to do that exact same thing, but I am going to go through them and we're going to do updated versions by inquiring now more cards from the new set Trial by Frost. So if you guys like this type of content, you want to see more, please just do me the big favor right now while I have your attention. Hit the like button. If you're new, consider hitting that subscribe button. Don't forget to also hit that notification bell so you guys never miss when I drop a video, and comment down below if you like this build, don't like this build, what would you do a little bit differently. Every once in a while I like to do these builds. I like to put like even my little personal spin, or why my little personal spin. I like to go through each card and why I put each card in there. So the beauty of Altered TCG is there's multiple ways to build a deck. There is no one way suits best. Of course, we all know there's going to be eventually some meta that eventually will sit in with Altered TCG. I try to kind of just sometimes go away from that a little bit, just try to do like a little personal spin on it. So for this build, I went through with using no uniques because I don't have any uniques that do suit this deck. So if you guys do have some uniques, just remember to kind of put that into the equation when you're building these type of decks. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go over the deck. We'll go over the hero real quick, just in case anybody forgot. This is Basira and Kaizaimon. When a character you control gains 1 or more boost, you may exhaust me to have a target character gain boost. So pretty much all you're going to do is boost throughout this entire deck. The theme of this deck is simply boost and season. Those are the 3 big things. We want to put season. So season on the board means that, if you give something a boost, when it leaves, it keeps those boosts, and when it goes to the reserve. And then, of course, when you guys have fleeting, then it goes away for good, right? But what if there's a way to get around some of that? So that's kind of what the theme of this deck. Again, seasoned, lots of boost, and then hopefully let's get rid of the fleeting so we can keep these cards around, because when you're facing up someone against like Moon or something like that, the thing is that, yeah, you may outgain them for that one turn, but with them keeping the things on the board, that becomes a little bit of a problem too. So let's try to get some pseudo anchored in there as well. So that's kind of the theme of this deck. If you guys want to pause the video right now, you can take a good look at the deck itself and let me know what you guys think. Think I missed something? While I was going through this deck, I did feel like I was missing. So there's multiple different ways of building this deck. I probably spent about 3 to 4 hours just staring at the screen here, trying to like build what I think is the best version of this deck. So there's a lot of different ways we can go, especially with the new set Trial by Frost. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the characters first. We have 3 copies of the normal version of Fire Rabbit to 1/1 for a 1/1/0. And it basically says that you play out of the hand, you may have me gain fleeting. If you do, another target character gains a boost, which then will trigger your hero. So really good there for a 1-drop. We have 1 copy of the regular version, Bravo's Blade Dancer. It's a 1/3/0 across the board. It has season. When you play it out of your hand or out of the reserve, it's going to gain a boost, which will also then trigger your hero. But of course, season is I keep my boost when I go to the reserve. So remember, the more boost you put on this card, the bigger, the badder it's going to be. We did go with 2 copies of the rare version of it, so we went with a 2-1 split. We have a 1/3 for 0 across the board. We have season, gains boost, and then out of your reserve, if I have 4 boost or less, I lose fleeting. It's very easy to get this thing to 3 boosts and then put it right into your reserve. And I mean like real easy to do that with. So really good card there. We also went with red, who's also a pretty good season, pretty good stats. So we got 2/2, 2 across the board, and has season. And then we went with, again, a 2-to-1 split. We went with the 2 rare copies of red for a 2/3, 2 across the board season. At dusk, if I have 3 or more boosts, draw a card. Drawing cards, very pivotal in this game. It's very difficult to actually get cards that basically say draw. So by having red and I only have 3 boosts, again, very easy to do with this deck. Next up, we have Bravo's Vanguard. It's a 3/3 for a 4/2/2, and it says you may have another target character lose fleeting. We got 3 copies of this one because when you do have all these characters that are big and bad, when they have that fleeting, they're basically going to lose all their boosts. So let's actually lose that fleeting. So then they go to the reserve, keeping all of that boost again, still getting that added bonuses of either drawing a card like from red, or putting 3 boost on Bravo's Blade Dancer and keeping that around a little bit longer, or just building it as big as bad as it can get. So this way it's a big enough threat to your opponent, either has to deal with it or almost ignore it, and there's no way to overcome that basically. So 3 copies, Bravo's Vanguard. I think pretty much in almost all Bravo's decks, this card's still going to be pretty much a staple. I did go with 3 copies of the regular version of Haven Warrior to 3/3 for 4/2/4. The only reason why this thing is in the deck is just because those stats are pretty good. So I like it just because of that reason alone. You'll see when we get to the statistics side of the deck. The stats for this deck, pretty good. I mean, like, not just real, like really good, like almost really good. Like, we're almost at 60s across the board here. So I'll show you when we get to that point. Next up, we went with 3 copies of the rare version of Sun Wukong for a 3/4 2/4/2. Play out of your reserve, gains 2 boost and loses fleeting. Again, that'll also, the 2 boost thing will be able to trigger your hero. And maybe if you want to give him another boost, you're having a 2/4/2 that's going to come out that possibly can get 3 boost on it. That's going to be very powerful. That's going to put it to a, what, a 5/6/5. That's really good for just 4 mana. And of course, from the new set, we got a Clote. I hope I'm saying that right. It's a 4/4. We got the rare version, 3 copies for a 3/3/4. When I gain 1 or more boost, you may exhaust target card in reserve. So we get to tap down things in the reserve. But this is where I really like this card. When you play out of your hand or your reserve, I gain 1 boost. That 1 boost can be put onto a Clote, and then you can then tap down your hero to put either additional boost or put something, or put that other boost onto another, maybe something with season, so that season character becomes a lot bigger and a better threat. And of course, when you have a 3/3/4 on the board, that's going to become a 4/4/5 on the board for just 4 mana. Those are really good stats, and you get to tap down. Everything about this card screams to me, yes, that this needs to be in the deck. So I really like this card a lot, but not as much as I like this card from the new set as well. Trial by Frost. We have Eros, who's a 7/7 3/6/3. That's one thing I thought Bravos did really poorly, was putting a bigger threat on the board. Like, when you get to that 5, 6, 7 mana, you need big threats. Now, we had Shenlong, but I thought he was a little too costly. This slides right in between costing a little bit too much, but also being a big enough threat to where I feel comfortable enough putting it in the deck, saying, I think this is a good threat. Plus, we get the added bonus of you may immediately play a character for 3 or less. If you look at the deck, from Sun Wukong all the way down, I mean, these are all 3 or less characters, right? Sun Wukong costs 3 or less. Haven Warriors 3 or less. Bravos Vanguard's 3 or less. Red, all 3 or less. Bravos Blade Dancer 3 or less. Fire Rabbit 3 or less. So then we also went with another 2-to-1 split with Eros, because I like this one as well. That it has a 3/5/5, so we get a little bit of weaker stats, but it says you may immediately play a character for 3 or less. It gains 2 boosts. So if you play Bravos Blade Dancer, it's going to gain 2 boosts plus another boost, and then it's going to have season. If you play the rare version, you're going to gain another boost plus 2. And it's going to have hopefully that 4 or less, that then it'll lose fleeting when you play out of your reserve, keeping those boosts, unless of course you put another boost. Maybe you're going for broke here. I'm just spitballing a bunch of scenarios at you guys, but I really like this Eros card. I think it's the perfect balance of not costing too much, but costing just enough to where I feel comfortable spending the 7 mana, but I'm getting enough value out of it. I'm playing something for 3 or less for free, and it's going to gain 2 boosts, which then will also activate my hero ability. So if I want to put that extra boost on Eros, making him a 4/6/6 for 7 mana, I'm getting additional card out on the field, and I'm going to get 2 boosts. It's a really good card. I love this a lot for Bravos. Really definitely was needed. That's it for the characters. Let's talk about the spells. We have Helping Hand for a 1/2. Target character gains a boost and loses fleeting. Pretty stable right there, just to give it a boost and loses fleeting, which will really help those seasoned characters. Physical Training, target character gains 3 boosts, which is also critical for seasoned. And then we have Geyser from the new set as well, 4/4. This is removal, but it's also ramp as well. It says return target character or permanent to its owner's hand, then put me in your mana orbs. I really like this. It goes in as exhausted. It only added bonus, but if it wasn't exhausted, it would have been even better, icing on the cake. But a little bit of pseudo ramp and a little bit of removal as well. So I really like that card. I think this is better than Intimidation. You guys can comment down below. I know it costs a little bit more than Intimidation. You guys let me know if you guys think that this one is better than Intimidation, or you think the cheaper reduction for Intimidation is better than Geyser. So that's it for the spells. Now let's talk about the permanents, because this is where I think I may have misjudged a little bit. Maybe I'm right about putting these cards in there. You guys can please comment down below. Do you guys like this added to it, or would you go with something else? Let me know what you guys think down below. I went with Floral 10, so 2/1 Expedition Permanent Gear. You may play me in an expedition. If I move forward, it then goes to the reserve during the rest. But it has resupply, so I like that ability, right? You gotta take a card from the top of your deck, put it right into your reserve. That's pretty good. And then it says, if a boosted character would leave my expedition during this afternoon, it loses all its boost instead. So this is where, like, we get a little bit of pseudo anchor, right? Instead of leaving the expedition, it was boosted, which is really easy to do with your hero. Let's just say, for example, you put down an Eros. Right? This is already on the field. Maybe you play the long game, then you basically play Eros in an expedition. Maybe you just play this on the companion, you ignore your companion for the entire game. You just move the hero side all the way. And you're a neck and neck, right? And you're like 1 more from either both advancing, or maybe like your hero and your companion are face to face. We just got to get them to meet, right? Then you play this with arrows. Let's say maybe you don't get it across, but it was boosted and you just need that one more turn, that one more go around. This is the way to keep something up basically on the board. If a boosted character would leave my expedition during the afternoon, it just loses all its boost instead, which is really easy to activate with most of the cards even on this, with the deck that we already built. But then we get that added bonus of just tapping, exhausting our hero and giving something a boost. See what I'm saying? I think this is a good play. You guys can let me know. I wasn't 100% sure about this. I think I was kind of like I'm thinking myself. I wasn't sure if this was going to be a good card for it. Definitely something I'm going to have to play test a lot of and see how well this really works. And for the last card, to nobody's surprise, we have Haven Bravos Bastion 2/2. Your characters have, when you play out of your reserve, gains a boost. Again, another great card because again, with Season, this goes really well to giving something with that added bonus. You think of Sun Wukong, he comes out, he gains 2 boosts. If you have that already on the field, now he's going to gain 3 boosts. If you exhaust your hero, he gains another boost. That's 4 boosts for only a 4 mana cost Sun Wukong. And he's going to lose Fleeting. It's a very, very good card. I think this deck is pretty good. For the stats, you guys can see right there, hand cost, reserve cost is pretty much right where we want it to be. We only have 1 high cost card. We have no 5s and 6s, which I think that's pretty good for this deck because we want a lot of 1s and 4s. We're playing up to that arrows, right? We're going to boost a lot of things, get all that kind of stuff. But look at the stats, look at the attributes. 57 in Forest, 58 in Mountain, 58 in Ocean. With the ability to pretty much boost everything in this deck, and with Seasoned, and we have a couple of zeros that are already like Bravos Blade Dancer. But the fact that we have those zeros right there, we have Bravos Blade Dancer, we're almost at 60s across the board with the ability to pretty much boost everything in this deck, I think is pretty good. Types, 9 spells, 6 permanents, 24 characters. And that right there is the deck itself. Let me know what you guys think down below. Agree, disagree, like the deck, don't like the deck. What would you change about it? If so, why? Would like to hear from some of you guys now. Now I'm going to show you guys also to a sideboard that I kind of put together in case you want to take this deck in a different direction. All right, here's a little quick sideboard. If you want to swap out like about 10, 15 cards, something like that. Maybe you want to slide some of these cards in. Maybe this is a different direction you want to take the deck. Here are at least a couple of cards that I would sideboard. First off, Bravos Tracer. Pretty much a really good card with a really good stat line, right? It only costs 2 for a 4/3/4, but it has, of course, gain Fleeting. There's a couple of ways we pretty much we can get rid of Fleeting, right? With, of course, Bravos Vanguard, Helping Hand, and even the Floral Tent, right? If you play this out there, if you play maybe something that has a boost, maybe then you exhaust your hero, you give another boost to like a Bravos Tracer, something like that, and then, of course, the Floral Tent will then activate it, right? If this thing is boosted, get rid of the boost, lose Fleeting. Pretty staple, right? If you want to go in a different direction, you want better stats for a cheaper cost. The only reason why I didn't is just because it's a lot of hoops to jump through, and you pretty much have to centralize your deck around a Bravos Tracer. So I didn't go with that one. I went with obviously a different direction, but you guys can let me know if you guys think that card does belong in the main deck. The other card we have here is a Bravos Pathfinder if you really want to go the full season route. For a 2/2 for a 0/3/3, it has Season, and then when you play it out of your hand, you may pay 2 to have me gain a boost, which then you can also activate your hero with. So another card that I thought might be slided into the deck. Maybe if you didn't want to go with a Bravos Trace, you want to go with Bravos Pathfinder. A little bit of a better card. Also, too, from the new set, we have Yetis, a 3/4 for a 2/3/3. You may have me gain a sleep, and then also says, too, when another character joins your expedition, it gains 1 boost. This thing will do a really good job of pretty much boosting for at least two days, right? You know, because it's going to gain a sleep, and anything you put with that expedition is just going to gain that boost, which will then also activate your hero. This is the one card I really do think I'm probably going to look to add. The only reason why I just don't is because I like to do a little more of like aggressive play style. A sleep is a little more of like, you have to really set up your board. You really have to get a board state going. I do think this deck will probably be going in more of a mana ramping deck. So then you can play other things outside of just Yeti, right? If you can play Yeti, if you're ramping and you're already like on day, let's say 3, but you have 6 mana, you can play him plus a Bravos Blade Dancer and a red. That's a really good play right there in and of itself, right? Especially if you're on day 3. But if you're on day 4 or 5 and then you're already at 6 mana, chances are you're going to be a little bit behind the board. So I do think this card deserves to be in a ramp deck. Again, you guys can agree or disagree with me. And then, of course, if you do want, instead of the Haven Warrior, we have Haven Bouncer, 3/3 for a 2/2/2 across the board. Has Sabotage. When you play out of your reserve, gains a boost. So if you want to swap those two out, you could. Of course, Intimidation, also sideboard in case you find out that the Mana Geyser is a little too expensive. Go with Intimidation instead. It's just really easy to swap those out. And then last but not least for permanents, I went with the Arcolano Milk. When a character joins my expedition, it gains 1 boost and fleeting. So again, if you wanted to go with the more of the full fleeting route, and maybe you want to change up the entire deck, maybe you want to go with a more heavy dosage of higher stats but more fleeting, there are ways to pretty much get with the Alcalano Milk and also make them lose fleeting. There's a couple of combos that you can do with the Milk and the Tracer that you can really pop off for, which is something I'm probably gonna have to experiment with to make sure I get it right. But that's gonna do it for this video. Again, please comment down below what you guys like, what you guys didn't like, what maybe you change, or if you just like the deck in general, just comment like the deck. Really do appreciate it. If you made it this far, please give the video a thumbs up. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. See you guys next time.